beat somebody yesterday. It had been way too long in between wins, but we played really, really well after a sluggish start against pretty hot Indiana team. They played well, served us tough in the first set, and then we made some adjustments and really probably played our three of our best sets of the entire season. Defensively, we were really, really good. Held, I think, Indiana to 0.59 hitting percentage. And then offensively, we had several people getting off the floor quick and getting on the ball fast. And on top of that, Meg Renner had her best match as a Boilermaker yesterday. And great to see her confidence building, because that's a big piece to us becoming much better, is having Meg Renner step up and not only block a lot of balls, but she served the ball tough. The ball was coming out of her hands much better, making good decisions. So it was just nice to see this team play with smiles on their faces and enjoy what they were doing, which is not always easy in this league because the competition is so tough. The match at Northwestern on Friday night, we had opportunities to win up there. We were up 6-3 in the fifth set. Did not play poorly. We played a decent match, but Northwestern's, a top 30 team in the country. Their RPI is about 28, and they've got good talent. Probably the best Northwestern team that I've seen in over a decade. So we knew that wasn't going to be easy. We thought we had a shot to win it. We just didn't. But yet, there were some good things that happened up there. Lourdes Myers played most of the last three sets and really did a good job. Showed some of the things that she's been doing in practice and continue to do those at a high level against a good team. I thought that we got really good performance both nights from Raven Colvin and Eva Hudson. They were really, really good. And the other thing that's made a big difference, I think, in the last week is Maddie Skimmerhorn is believing she's back to full strength. And when you have an injury like she had, it's not easy to bounce back from physically or emotionally. But I think that she's back, and she's starting to lead the team again. So, despite just going 1-1, there were some real positive things that happened during this past week. We're working hard. We continue to get better. The other thing I wanted to give a shout out to our fans. They were really difference makers again yesterday. You know that they're going to come out for the Indiana match, but they've come out for every match. We've sold out every single match, and now we're getting butts in every single seat. And the volume in that gym has been louder than it's been in any other season that I've been here. And that's a tribute to our players, that our fans care enough about them, but certainly a lot to our people coming from all over the state and beyond, to cheer for this team. So I'm really happy with the crowd base, the fan base that we're developing, and we hope that they'll continue to show up on the road like they did at Northwestern. On Friday night, we probably had half the crowd up there once again, kind of like when we went to Indiana. And now we've got two matches coming up in East Lansing and Ann Arbor that are both going to be critical to our opportunities to make the NCAA tournament. And it would be great for our fans from the state of Michigan to show up and try to give us a little bit of support as well. So that's kind of my update on what happened the past weekend, and I'm ready to go.
Dave, I know obviously the schedule was kind of grueling there, but when you lose that many matches in a row, do you start to worry about, especially with some players who are seeing their first extensive college volleyball time, confidence becoming an issue?
I think it's more just trying to hold everybody together. Sometimes when you're winning, people just go along with the ride, no matter what their role might be, or how much playing time they're getting, or if they're redshirting. Everything's fun, everything's going well. When you start to get beat, it provides an opportunity for people to start. Coaches, anybody can start feeling sorry for themselves, because it's not as smooth as it was. And so I think the first thing that a head coach or anybody that's in a leadership role has to kind of look for those things and get ahead of the curve. Don't wait till something happens. Just make sure that you're talking about things that they need to do. Meet with your seniors, talk with people who aren't playing as much, and help them understand why and what they need to do. Those are the things that concern me when you start to lose some matches. Is you don't want it to get worse. Okay, you don't want to have self-inflicted wounds because this league's tough enough as it is. And we recruit really high-character people, but that doesn't mean there aren't going to be days that they don't feel very good about what their situation might be. And so, but we've handled it very well, and I think that, again, we've got good leadership. You know, Maddie Skimmerhorn does a really good job of trying to stay out in front of things and work, and she gave me a call Saturday night. We talked for probably a half hour about some things that she felt like she needed some help with, and so we worked some of those things out. But a win can solve a lot of those problems, but you still, it's a long season. So your coaching staff has to consistently kind of have their ears open and eyes open and be ahead of the game a little bit with some of those things, because we have 17 players on our roster, and we want all of them to be engaged and be positive.
I know when you were, whatever it was, 11-1, something like that, and you said nobody expected that from this team. Now you're 16-6, I think. Is that more like where you thought you might be at this point in the season? Are you still ahead of maybe where people?
It's impossible. I mean, I don't know what people think. You know, I haven't done a survey, but I want this team to make the tournament. And if we get in the tournament, we're going to continue to get better. And if we get in the tournament, we'll be hard to beat. I don't think we'll be a team that anybody wants to see walk into their gym. We still have a chance to host here. You know, we have 8 matches remaining. I think that they're, you know, obviously going to Nebraska is going to be tough. We have Ohio State here. Those are the 2 top 5 ranked teams in the country, or Ohio State might be 6 this week. But those are really good teams. Outside of that, it's a crapshoot. You got Michigan twice, who's in similar position we are. Penn State twice, similar position to what we are. Obviously going to Michigan State this weekend. Got Maryland out at their place, and must be somebody else in there somewhere as well. But we're going to be in every match, and we just want to first win enough to get in the tournament, and then try to win a few more to host here in Holloway Gym.
As coaches, do you put more emphasis on Friday's match, where it is a team that's struggling right now, and you know you can make their season if they beat you?
Well, they did that last year when they came in here and knocked us off, and may have prevented us from hosting a regional round. You know, that's the only blemish that was really on our schedule last year. We lost a few more, but they were the teams that did host regional rounds. So. No, I think that we will prepare like we prepare every week for 2 teams. We're going to focus on the first one and make sure we're ready for them. And thank goodness we have a day in between where we can then, you know, put the plan in the best possible fashion for Michigan. Michigan's loaded. I think Michigan is a really talented team. When you look at them offensively, they got great athletes that they're putting on the floor. They're a very impressive team to watch play. I think that, you know, they're a little bit like Purdue, working through some fresh setters that haven't played a ton, some ball control issues that they're having because they're running a 2-setter offense, so they don't have a lot of subs to play defensive specialists, so they're counting on some of their left sides and right sides to pass and things like that. So. But, you know, we always have great matches with Michigan, and I'm sure it will be another one on Sunday.
How much did Raven Colvin with the national team, how much did that experience help her coming into the year? Just, you know, I know she didn't play a whole lot, but she was around that.
Yeah, I don't know how big of a deal that was, to be honest with you, Sam. It should be a confidence builder whenever you're selected to play on, in that case, I think it was the junior national team. With some really good players, and there were 3 middles, and she happened to be the 3rd and didn't play as much as she wanted. I think what it did was motivate her. You know, that didn't feel good, you know, being the odd woman out, I guess I should say, on that team. But she wasn't with them long enough to really be trained for a long time at a different level than what she is here. I think what has, you know, she was really good this weekend. It's probably one of the best weekends she's had in a long time. And we had a conversation the other day, and I don't think I've shared this with you guys, but, you know, we want our setters and hitters to have a lot of communication. But we don't want it to always be one way where, okay, I want the ball higher, I want the ball lower, I want it wider, I want it here. If you're an athlete like Raven Colvin, one of the best we've ever had here, you just go find the ball. Okay, the setter's job is to put the ball in a window, okay? It's not to put it on a tee like back when you were young, we were playing T-ball. They put it on the tee, and you just hit it, okay? They put the ball out to the window, and you be an athlete and go find the ball and hit it, and not put pressure on those setters to have to put it in a perfect spot, because they're just trying to do the best they can. And I think that she listened to that, because it was a positive conversation from the standpoint, you're the best athlete we have on this team. Okay, there's not anything you can't do. She's going to set the ball. It's going to be somewhere in that area. You go find it and hit it. And the other thing was, we watched when we played Indiana before, and they were release blocking away from our middle hitters. And so it gave us an opportunity to say, this is how much respect that they have for you, Ray, okay, that they're going away from you. Their block is moving away from you. So what are you going to do this Sunday to maybe earn some respect from the people that aren't giving you that kind of respect? So she had a little extra motivation as well.
You said yourself that was some of the 3 sets against IU was some of the best you've played this year. What was the impetus behind that turnaround after that first set? And then what's the key to making sure that can continue throughout the season?
Yeah. We've been working really hard. This is a group that's very conscientious, and they don't like to not play well, and they don't like to lose. I was surprised that we were as bad as we were in the first set. I mean, give Indiana credit. I mean, they serve the ball really tough. That's their rally cry, is they're going to score on aces and take you out of system, and they did exactly that in the first set. I thought we would be more prepared to play. But what happens sometimes when you talk about how good of a serving team somebody is and how important passing is going to be, that gets in your head a little bit. And it just took us a while to work through that. We didn't give our offensive players a chance to do anything in that first set. All of a sudden, we go to the second set, we relax a little bit, and we start passing the ball. Our defense had been good. We played defense well in the first set. That was probably our best defensive effort of the entire season against Indiana. We did a really nice job of shutting down what we wanted to shut down. But I think basically is not let your players lose their minds about it. Just stay calm. One thing I've learned over the years of experience is taking them back around a corner and giving them a lip sandwich isn't going to be a productive thing, okay? You just need to stay cool, calm, and collect. Have your players stay that way. Let them know you believe in them, and then see if they can't turn the corner on their own. It's not anything you're going to do. It's something that they're going to do. We take a lot of pride in being a player-led team, and in that situation, they took control, and they just relaxed. And then the big difference as well was, as I pointed out earlier, Meg Renner just set a really good match, and she played with great poise, and I thought that was a big difference as well. Moving forward, I think this should be a confidence builder for them, although to me, every single Big Ten match is a season of itself. This is going to take all week to get ready for Michigan State, to be prepared for them, and we'll go play them, and it will be a real battle, and then we have another day to try to get ready to go play Michigan. But it will be about our players' ability to be focused on whatever plan we come up with. The plan doesn't have to be great. It just has to be followed and believed in. And if we follow and believe the plan that our staff puts together, we're going to have success. It doesn't have to be the exact right plan. As long as everybody understands it, it can be effective.
And then you talked about Meg Venner. Grace Balancey and Meg Venner have tended to sort of trade off at times, and then sometimes, like you said, in IU, Meg Venner play the majority of the match, sometimes Balancey will. How much of that decision is based on film and practice and pre-decided versus how much of that is an in-game decision based on feel?
That's a good question. We've tried to at least not go full-time with 2 setters because it's put us in a substitution jam. When you're going with 2 setters, that's eating up maybe 6 subs out of the 15 you get, and that means you can't play a Lourdes Myers to see how she's going to react to a situation, or anybody else. And at the end of almost every close set we get into, we're running out of subs. So we've tried to find ways to not just go round and round and round with those setters. The decision to go with Meg full time was that I thought she was playing at a higher level, And I liked the look on her face. I liked again, the poise and the confidence that she was playing with. And matter of fact, the first set, we started, normally we start Grace middle back. She plays 2 rotations, and then in the front row comes Meg. But to save one sub right away, we decided let's just start Meg middle back, even though she normally doesn't play that much in the back row. And that saves us a sub. And then it was time for Grace to go in, okay? She just didn't realize she was supposed to go in. So Meg just went across the back row. And it kind of just gave, I think, Meg a chance to get warmed up and get comfortable playing all 6 rotations. And but basically, the decision's made by once the match starts, who's playing the best, if we're going to go with just 1 as opposed to 2. And the liability that Grace has is she's not big and physical at the net, so she's a blocking liability at times. If we're playing somebody that's got left side hitters that can hit high above the net and over the block, then she's a little bit of a liability from a blocking standpoint, but not from a setting standpoint whatsoever.
Then on the Michigan trip, it's been a while since a road win. Do those games present any additional challenges outside of the travel and the unfriendly crowd?
Not besides those 2 things. I mean, you named the 2 things that make it a little bit challenging, but our players, have been in this league, a lot of them for a long time. A couple of them haven't been. But, again, you try to embrace the opportunity. We're going to play in Jenison. We're going to play in, Breslin, yeah. For the first time, we're going to play there. And we've never played there before. So you can look at that as, wow, never played there before. It's going to be a challenge. Or what a great opportunity. Go play in this beautiful venue that, you watch the basketball teams playing all the time and get excited about it and embrace that opportunity. I think with Michigan, we're going back into their old – they're playing 2 different places. They play at both Cliff Keen Arena, which holds about maybe 1,800, and they also play in Chrysler – is it Arena? Center. It's got the center now? Okay. And which holds probably 15,000. So they got 2 different places that they play in. But a lot of schools are going to their bigger venues right now, which I think opens up a question, when we're selling out our facility every night and there's people clamoring for tickets, is there a plan that we need to start putting into place that we can either get more people into Holloway or we can at least get some matches played possibly in Mackey, so some more of our fans can watch this team play.
Can you talk, Dave, about the progress that Maddie Chin has made? Injured earlier this year,
Yeah.
but he had a really good weekend for you this week.
Yeah, and I meant to mention that earlier, and I think I may have passed over that. She was a huge difference maker for this team. And, Maddie has quietly done her job for 4 years here. And I'm really proud of how she's responded to whatever situation she's been in. But I think she got a little tired of it and decided that it was time. She had an ankle injury. I think we all know that. And it took her longer than what she had hoped to kind of bounce back from that, to get her jump back up. She doesn't jump like Raven Colvin, okay? She's a good athlete, but doesn't jump like Raven Colvin. So if you have an ankle injury, that limits your jump a little bit. It's going to affect your play, your ability to block and attack, which is what her 2 main jobs are. But here in the last 2 weeks, she's been getting off the floor really well. And when we went to Northwestern, I felt like it was her time. She deserved an opportunity. She played really, really well at Northwestern. And then we play here, and even though Emma Ellis has been a great positive force against Indiana every time we played them, I kind of felt like I wanted to go with the same way we started at Northwestern, which was a mistake because we ended up, getting hammered the first set. But it wasn't because of Chin. Chin was still giving us a lot of energy and a lot of positivity. So we kept her, moved her from the left side to the right side, brought Emma in and played her on the left side. And that group seemed to roll pretty well. But Maddie blocked 7 balls. I think it was 7 balls in that match yesterday, which is a remarkable number for a left side hitter. And then she hit nearly 450. Okay, so Obviously one of the best matches of her career, but she's had some good matches. She's had some matches, one against Kentucky when we went down and beat them at their place, where she was remarkable early in her career. So we're going to count on her to continue to play at that level.
Year 20 for you, every team is different. What would you say this team's personality is now that you're more than halfway through your season? How would you describe their personality?
That they're constantly learning. They realize they're not there yet, and they have a lot to learn. They watch the teams in this league that are somewhat ominous. They don't back down from anybody. We've played some of our very best volleyball against the best teams in this league, the Wisconsins, the Minnesotas, even against Nebraska. Although they swept us, we had moments we played really well. So I think they've learned a lot from watching the players that have been here before, and they're always in the gym. Probably collectively, this group is in the gym more when we're not with them than any other team that I've had. So I just like the fact that they're learning, and it's a tightly knit group. They've worked really hard to make sure that they had that cohesion and that chemistry. So I think those are all really positives as you move through a season. It makes the job as a coach a lot easier.
Last one for me. I think you won all but one of your challenges yesterday. Do you decide? You have the final say, but how much of a democracy is that on your bench when you're deciding whether or not to challenge something?
Well, it's not a democracy on my bench with other coaches. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to them. I got a better view. I'm up there a lot closer to the floor, and I think my eyes are better than them anyway. But it's figuring out how much to believe from your players. There's some players on your team that even though they may have touched the net or they may have touched a particular ball or they're not sure if the opponent touched it, they may want to make you believe that they were not in error, okay? And that can't happen. I mean, there's no reason for that in our level, okay? But then there are other players that you have a lot of confidence in. If they say that they touched it or they say that whatever, you believe them. So, and part of it's timing. I mean, if you don't need to challenge one because you're up 19-14, you may not challenge it, okay? If all of a sudden the other team's got some momentum and you kind of need to delay things anyway, that might encourage you on a borderline call to challenge. And we were fortunate yesterday too. You know, I mean, that's kind of just a lot of the challenges are determined by who is looking at the video. There are some officials that, I mean, if it's not smack in your face, they're not going to call it. Others will look really hard and use their judgment on whether or not it was, touched by the block or not, whatever else it might be. So like when I challenged the last one, we had two, and I would have gotten another one had we gone to a fifth set. So you can't take them home with you. I don't have a bunch of them at home, okay, because I didn't use them. So I figured, I think it was a pancake, and I thought there was a chance she didn't get to it, so I thought, well, let's just try that and see apparently that she did get to it. But I still had one left, and I think at that point in time it was about 21-11. So that was why I used that one. I may not have used that if it was 5-4 in the second set. Yeah. Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate it.